Right now on Upfront.
Central count fallout.
What's important is that we're transparent, that the results are secure.
Delayed primary results in Milwaukee.
This is a human error in which the wrong button was pressed.
Now this weekend calls for investigations.
We need to see what's happening.
This Sunday, the latest on what happened.
No, there won't be a firing. This is an opportunity for training.
Republican State Representative Scott Krug as some state lawmakers demand answers. And now the head of Milwaukee's Election Commission, Paulina Gutierrez, is here to respond.
Fake poll. The bizarre walkback involving the Democratic primary for governor and the new Marquette, Wisconsin poll just days from release. Marquette's first look at the David Crowley-Tom Tiffany matchup. Charles Franklin standing by with it all. And following Francesca Hong's loss, the warning from Democratic socialists to David Crowley.
This is Upfront with Jaron Jordan and political director Matt Smith.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us. Intense scrutiny yet again targeting the city of Milwaukee and its central count location following the August primary.
Local election officials blaming human error for delaying results. Now state lawmakers are demanding answers. The chair of the Assembly Elections Committee in this letter Friday demanding answers within 30 days. And now the head of Milwaukee's Election Commission is here to respond to it all in her first interview. I'm assuming our crew and folks are now headed back to the central count location.
We were live on the air all night as the problems played out in real time.
I think we all should just take note that these things happen, and at the end of the day, what's important is that we're transparent, that the results are secure, and that we're open and honest.
Milwaukee County and city election officials with a stunning announcement late in the night, forcing them to return to Milwaukee's central count location. The problem captured by our cameras, the audit logs loaded onto numerous flash drives instead of the absentee ballot results. Exporting audit log, clearly visible on the screen, the result election officials say was human error.
And as I mentioned before, unfortunately, the wrong button was pressed and the audit log was downloaded, not the results. And so when we discovered that was when we took it to the county and they could not upload. We had 4 successfully upload, but 5 were not. And what it was that audit log, not the results. So we came back following the exact same procedure that we've done in the past, and you can see that the numbers and time is different. It's exactly the same. Because all of this evidence is here. We have all of the paper ballots. We have the poll books. We have multiple layers, right? This is a human error in which the wrong button was pressed.
The fallout, though, swift.
I do not understand why theoretically a wrong button was pushed. That's one of the reasons that we have, and I'm calling for an investigation on that. Why did that happen?
Bob Spindell, a Republican and member of the bipartisan Wisconsin Elections Commission.
We've had 2 investigations. In Madison, 250 votes were in the bottom of some tub. In Green Bay, some lady sent out 250 extra ballots twice. To me, this is much more serious than those, and we've had major investigations for both Green Bay and Madison. And I think we need to have, once and for all, to satisfy the people of Wisconsin, and certainly the Republicans, which I'm also responsible for representing, that we see that everything is square there.
Milwaukee Mayor Cavalier Johnson.
So I know a lot of people have said, hey, is there going to be some sort of repercussion? Is somebody going to be fired over this, over a human error or a mistake? No, I don't. No, there won't be a firing. This is an opportunity for training. It's an opportunity for us to approach this in a different way. But I don't think that a human error, a mistake, which, by the way, our election workers, they work, probably some of them probably 20 hours that day. It was late at night. I don't think it rises to that level.
With that, let's bring in Republican State Representative Scott Krug, the Assembly Assistant Majority Leader and Vice Chair of the Elections Committee. State Representative, good to see you. Thanks for being here.
Hey, always happy to spend time with you guys.
So we just heard from the mayor say that no one is going to be fired over this. He called this an opportunity for training. Is this how you see it?
That's where I started, right, is I wanted everybody to give an opportunity for everybody to talk about the deficiencies that we're seeing in one location on every major election in the state. So I think, that's the point, is I want to know that we're ready for November. So if it takes more training, more input from stakeholders to say, okay, this is how we could do things better, that's great, but I still need to see some accountability and less incompetence when it comes to trying to expand options for, say, Monday process and other things. We just cannot do that if we're not training people appropriately.
Beyond that, would you like to see, are you calling for a legislative hearing into what happened on election night?
I think the pressure we put out to folks statewide after the election, where it wasn't just Milwaukee issues, right? There was Greene County had an issue. The Ariana Vagley and Greene has been great about talking about how they're going to try something different than they did this time. We saw issues in Fond du Lac with some reportings. Winnebago had server issues. So it's not just Milwaukee, but I think the challenge right now is I would like our committee to hear more from Central Count in Milwaukee, from the county office on reporting issues. If they can give us some more information, who, what, when, where, how, why, and how, and what's going to be better, great. If they're not going to be more forthcoming directly with us, then yes, we should have a hearing and let people know that you're not going to have to wonder what's going to happen in November.
You referenced the Monday processing bill, and you've been a big supporter allowing municipalities to start that process on Monday. Do errors like this make this more difficult to pass the legislature?
It does. That's exactly what my challenge was after the primary election night, was the struggles that continue with personnel and process at Central Count in Milwaukee lead more people in the legislature to question the need for Central Count versus trying to implement procedures like Monday process, right? So if you don't have the right people, the right personnel, you could screw up on Monday, you could screw up on Tuesday, sometimes they're screwing up on Wednesday. A new process isn't necessarily going to work until we have the training down pat and we know exactly who's going to do what, who's responsible for it, what the accountability is. So yeah, I think they go hand in hand.
There are dozens of municipalities that use Central Count across the state of Wisconsin. Does this Central Count model, does it still work, do you think?
That is something we have to talk about when it comes back to the legislature in January. I know that there are a lot of communities that like to use it. I know it seems to be easier for some communities to use it. But if we don't keep the idea that one Central Count facility is ruining it for everybody out of the forefront, that's going to be a struggle in the legislature, is to stop the movement to get rid of Central Count.
A lot of conversations still to be had in the days and weeks and months to come. Representative Scott Krug, the Assembly Elections Committee and Assistant Majority Leader, thanks so much for being here.
Absolutely. Take care, guys.
Paulina Gutierrez is the Milwaukee Election Commission Executive Director. She joins us now. Paulina, good to see you. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you for having me.
We just heard from Representative Krug. Lawmakers say they want to look into this. Bob Spindell on the Elections Commission has said he wants the commission to look in this. The Common Council is requesting your testimony. I guess just first, will you comply and will you participate in any and all investigations or hearings or whatever lawmakers may want to do on this?
Yeah, voter confidence is important to us, and we would welcome any investigation.
At any level, from
Correct.
The Common Council all the way up to state lawmakers?
Yes, we are expecting to testify in front of Common Council, I think, sometime in September.
Let's talk about what happened.
Yeah, I want to ask about what happened on election night. We saw the shot where it clearly said exporting audit logs on the screen. So how did this happen, not just once, but 5 times, downloading the audit log versus the results?
Well, the most important thing that I want voters to understand is that this had absolutely no impact on the accuracy of the election results. It had an impact on when those results were posted. Our teams are trained. They had the written instructions with them. They had done it before, and unfortunately the mistakes still happened. I can't get into someone's head, but what I know is that we're learning from this mistake and making enhancements so that it doesn't happen again.
Do you understand why, or can you see how voters can see why this process, they don't have faith in the process when something like this happens? Do you understand the concerns that voters have when they see this happen?
Absolutely, that's a great question. Up until that point, the election was running smoothly. I was very pleased with the team, and I can understand the frustration and disappointment. I, too, am frustrated and disappointed by the process. But with every step that we take, we get better. And the training was there, and at no point was the accuracy of the results threatened. It was just about when those results were posted. And like what we're doing now moving forward is putting visual images onto the instructions. We're doing briefings beforehand, reviewing it one more time, and we're also providing the page-by-page process to observers so they can follow along as well.
Bob Spindell, a Republican member on the Wisconsin Elections Commission, says that you've not been transparent enough through this process. How do you respond to that?
We are transparent. We've been transparent throughout the entire process. As soon as we discovered the error, we conveyed those results immediately to the county. We allowed press inside of the building. We provided the reports that were originally printed and allowed people to see the new reports and saw that the results were absolutely the same. At no point was the accuracy of results threatened. We had the Milwaukee Police Department stationed in front of Central Count, so no unauthorized individuals could come to that location. And upon immediately discovering the error, we went out to the public to let them know.
Back to Jaron's question for a second. Was this a scenario where the mistake was made 5 separate times since there were 5 flash drives?
That is my understanding. I can't get into someone's head about what happened, but that was how the mistake occurred.
We heard the mayor say this past week that no one is going to be fired from this, and he called this an opportunity for training. You kind of walked through some of this, but can you double down on what changes now are in place from this election to what we're going to see in November, which will be an incredibly high-profile election?
Of course, yes. So we have had these written procedures since 2024. They were approved by our Board of Election Commissioners. We're enhancing those procedures to have actual screenshots of the screen. Like I said, we're going to do briefings before with each team. We will provide a demonstration of it at our public testing so that everyone can see how it works. We're going to do a point and call verification so that as each step is being completed, someone's verbalizing what is happening.
How much training does a poll worker go through before an election night?
So poll workers, which are different than our download team, go through a minimum of 3 to 6 hours of training per election.
Okay.
So we actually have enhanced our training over the years, but our download team is with full-time staff at Board of Election Commissioners. It's bipartisan. We ensure we bring in a party-nominated election worker as well. So these are experienced members. Unfortunately, I can't get inside of someone's head. It was a human error. And like I said, the human error did not impact the accuracy of the results. And we get better, we make improvements, and we'll be very upfront and transparent about how we make those improvements.
The mayor said no one is going to be fired. Can you discuss whether there's any punishment or any recourse for the person who did this and who this person was?
At the end of the day, the buck stops with me as the executive director. And so my job is to make sure that people are ready. I'm not going to discuss personnel matters, but what matters is that we get better and we learn from this issue. Unfortunately,
not the first issue we've seen on election night at Central Count. Is it time for Central Count to go away?
So every instance is a different parameter. At the end of the day, in all those instances, there was not an impact to the accuracy of the results. Getting rid of Central Count would require a significant amount of resources and planning, and that would also require that hundreds of thousands, tens of thousands of absentee ballots for 15 hours are transported throughout the city, and these are uncounted ballots. And in my opinion, that is not a secure method for managing absentee ballot counting.
To critics and skeptics and even just average voters out there who say, here it is once again, a problem at Milwaukee's Central Count, you tell them what ahead of November?
I think at the end of the day, we take an oath to protect the state and federal constitution. We have hundreds of poll workers that take this seriously. They are our neighbors. They care deeply about Milwaukee. We administer elections transparently and fairly and securely. We will be ready. We have the resources and support from the mayor's administration and the Common Council. And so we do what we can to always learn, to always be transparent, and to provide the resources that our staff need so that they are successful.
Paulina Gutierrez, the Executive Director of the Milwaukee Election Commission, thank you for your time. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Up next, the fake poll and the new real Wisconsin poll set to be released. Charles Franklin is standing by with it all next.
Welcome back. A bizarre story post-primary. A poll showing Francesca Hong up by more than 20 points in Wisconsin turns out all to be fake.
The group Median Strategies released a statement this past week saying its polling in the LA mayor's race and the Democratic primary here in Wisconsin was a, quote, short-term social experiment examining how purported polling information could enter and spread through the political information ecosystem without independent verification. The poll didn't receive much attention here in Wisconsin, but it's definitely helped spark some headlines. Charles Franklin is the director of the Marquette Law School poll, and he joins us now. Charles, thanks for being here.
Good to be here.
First, have you ever seen or heard of anything like this?
Not exactly like this. This is apparently just simply a fraud. To call it a poll is even dignifying something. This is just somebody on the internet that put out a claim that they had done a poll, and did it multiple times, including here and Los Angeles. It didn't get much, if any, notice here in Wisconsin, but when the Los Angeles mayor tweeted about it, because it mentioned her race, then people started paying attention, and the Los Angeles Times dug up the story that this was completely fraudulent.
Yeah, in the lead up to our primary in Wisconsin, did this poll ever cross your radar?
It did not cross mine. And I don't know of any reputable polling aggregators like Real Clear Politics or the New York Times or 50+1. None of those sites included it in their aggregation of polls.
All right, Charles, let's talk about the real polls coming out of the primary. It seems like some of the instant reaction, the knee-jerk reaction was, oh, all the polls were wrong when the results came in. Let me give it to you. Were the polls wrong when we saw Wisconsin results?
I don't think so, but in the following sense. Our poll had Francesca Hong at 38%. She got 39.3%. So far, so good. But we had David Crowley at just 7%, and he got 39-point-something%, more, 4,000 votes more. So we were certainly far off on what David Crowley got, but we were very close on Hong. Why is that? Well, at the time we finished our poll, Mandela Barnes was still in the race. Crowley had re-entered the race about a week earlier, just over a week earlier, and then Barnes drops out. And most importantly, we showed 34% undecided at that point. It's really, I think, pretty obvious that people made up their minds. They were influenced by the governor's endorsement and the last week or two of campaigning. So I think this is a case where the campaign shifted. It certainly doesn't mean our poll was right in David Crowley getting 7%, but I think at the time it was done on July 27th, it reflected the state of the race then. The real takeaway here is not so much about polling accuracy, but that campaigns really can matter.
Charles, you're going to be out with the first new Marquette poll since the primary. It comes out Wednesday, looking at Wisconsin voters. Give us some insight into what you're asking.
Well, we're, of course, going to ask about the horse race. This will be the first chance that we've done a Tiffany versus Crowley question, so we'll see how voters line up. We'll also be looking, and this is worth doing, are the partisans united behind Tiffany and united behind Crowley? Has that already taken place, or is there still work to do? We'll also care about who says they're certain they're going to vote in the fall. Democrats have had an advantage on that, but now that we're in the general election, look to see if Republicans are beginning to become more energized and enthused. And then finally, we'll look at a whole host of state as well as national issues on schools, on property taxes, on data centers, and so on.
A lot to look forward to when that poll comes out Wednesday. Charles Franklin, the director of the Marquette Law School poll. Always great to see you. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Up next, more election fallout. Democratic Socialists with a new message to David Crowley. Welcome back. 72 days until Election Day, if you're counting.
And now a new warning from Democratic Socialists to David Crowley's campaign, coming off that razor-thin victory.
You know, we're here on the Unity Tour.
As David Crowley attempts to unite a fractured Democratic Party after beating Democratic Socialist Francesca Hong by fewer than 4,000 votes,
the fight continues no matter what.
The local Wisconsin chapters of the Democratic Socialists of America now urging the Crowley campaign to adopt some of Hong's platform after each candidate received more than 300,000 votes in the primary.
It's unlikely that Crowley is going to receive the DSA endorsements. DSA is focused on democratic socialism and our ideals.
Is there a scenario where some of these Democratic Socialists just stay home, or people who supported Francesca Hong's campaign?
I think the only scenario I can see in which that's true is if David fails to energize the people of Wisconsin. By having a bold platform, by having a bold vision for the next steps of Wisconsin, that's how you could get good voter turnout. That's how you get a really energized base, people who voted for Fran to be energized, to knock doors, to vote, to get out there. And I can see David getting there. It's just all a matter of how the next couple of weeks unfold.
The question, though, is how powerful the progressive and democratic socialist movement is in Wisconsin, especially ahead of a general election in a key swing state. Hong never received the endorsements of prominent national progressives like Senator Bernie Sanders or Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
No, I haven't endorsed in that race. My focus has been in winning back the Congress, winning back the House.
In last month's Marquette Law School poll, 55% of Wisconsinites said they viewed Democratic Socialists unfavorably, including 54% of independents.
We talked about this and a lot more with both David Crowley and Tom Tiffany last week in their first sit-down interviews with us after the primary. You can watch those right now on the 12 News YouTube page under the Upfront playlist. Up next, The Freeze. Before we go, attention already turning to the next state budget. The UW Board of Regents proposing a deal of sorts, a promise to freeze tuition for the next 2 years, but only if the state covers the lost revenue, about $190 million. Overall, the Board of Regents is seeking an additional $730 million in state aid during the next 2-year budget.
That is our show today. All of our interviews are posted on the WISN 12 YouTube page. Just find and subscribe to the Upfront playlist.
Thanks so much for your time today. We'll see you right back here next Sunday for Upfront.